few hours later, Sir Kay was thundering down the line from London Bridge, keeping right up to schedule and right on time. The N15 was feeling very proud of himself as he pulled into the station where Wainwright C-Class 060 was waiting at the other platform.
Hello there, Sir Kay.
Oh, hello there, Shirley. I suppose I'd better ask, how is one of our resident goods engines?
Well, if I'm brutally honest, my king, rather peachy.
Oh, really? And why is that?
Because I've recently realised that one of our resident express engines thinks that he is the best timekeeper on the whole damn railway.
Beg your pardon, my dear engine. Where on earth did you get this from? Because I can tell you, it is not true.
It is most certainly true. Rafferty told me, and I think that it's one of the most baffling things I heard. How could you compare yourself to someone who is 20 years older than you? Probably more than 20 years old. It's like you're Mr. Perfect or something. Well, let me tell you, something shows me there are a lot of engines on this railway, and I bet you every single one of them has made a mistake in this day and age.
That's a fair assumption. But now let me tell you something. I'm an engine who's always lived by principles. Principles that, as an express engine, I need to abide to. Because I abide to these, I am able to keep time. Which is something that you are not going to do if you keep chatting away like this. And speaking of time, I need to get going in about 25 seconds. So if you'd excuse me, I need to prepare to depart.
Just then the guard blew his whistle and gave Sir Kay the right of way. He blew his whistle loudly, and with much panting and whooshing, Sir Kay smoothly departed towards his destination.
Yep, he's gonna be really annoyed with himself by the time he reaches the other end of the line.
But Shirley was only half right, because Sir Kay was already annoyed by what she had said, and now Sir Kay was getting distracted, not only by what Shirley had said, but also by everyone else around him.
Sir Kay, steady on. You're riding too roughly.
Oh my goodness!
But watching his pace and the smoothness of his ride wasn't the only thing the N15 had to worry about. Because as he was rolling down the line, he couldn't stand the fact that an engine like Shirley could say such things about him in that manner. And Sir Kay was so distracted by this that his driver discovered that Sir Kay was starting to slow down. So he decided to pick up speed.
Anthony, what are you bloody doing? No need to increase speed, we are running perfectly on time.
No, you're not. You're not running fast enough. And if you don't, we will be late. And we know how much timekeeping means to you.
Nonsense! If you are aware that I am such an excellent timekeeper, then you will know that we are running on time and we are running smoothly. We are fine.
But he was so blindly distracted by his previous conversation with Shirley, he didn't realise it until it was too late. As he passed through the next station, Sir Kay, in the midst of his distraction, spotted the station clock. Seeing what time it was, he suddenly realised his misjudgment. Sir Kay was horrified, but he had to pass through Burgess Hill Station at 4:35, when he should have passed through the station 8 minutes beforehand. Sir Kay was running late.
I can't afford to be late. I can't afford to be late. I can't afford to be late. I can't afford to be late.
Slow down, old boy. We can't go any faster than this. We have to stay within the restricted speed limits of British Railways.
Well, that's just spectacular. This is all.
Sir Kay said no more as he carried on at restricted speed towards Brighton. At Brighton, Johnny had returned from Southampton after briefly taking an ocean liner express to the docks, as one of the standard 5s had failed. Suddenly, he spotted Sir Kay rolling past, looking frantic as he pulled into the station. Johnny was quite amused by this sight he had just seen.
Well, this should be an interesting story to hear.
Soon Sir Kay rolled straight into the shed and slowly drew to a standstill. The engines round the yard chuckled at the sight of a rather embarrassed N15.
So, what happened to you then, Sir Kay? A bit later than usual, I see.
Sir Kay said nothing. Just then, Rafferty spoke up from the corner of the shed.
What's with Sir Kay, Johnny?
Well, that is a good question, Rafferty. It's the strangest thing. I was talking to this engine earlier on today, and he said that engines are the head front of the tracks and need to be on time. Always.
Is that right?
Yes, it is. He must be a very proud engine. Must be quite the timekeeper.
Then what's the matter with this head front on the track then?
Well, that's just the thing. He just rolled into the station like only 10 minutes ago, and it turns out he has made quite the misjudgment and was late.
All the engines laughed, but Sir Kay still said nothing, because he was aware of his misjudgment and was embarrassed. Later on that night, Shirley came back to the sheds and told both Johnny and Rafferty what exactly happened, and what she had said to him at the station. And after Johnny had listened to everything that the C-Class had to say, he went over to the sheds and rolled alongside Sir Kay, and was rather sympathetic.
You don't have to say anything, my friend, because I do understand why you were feeling embarrassed. You had too many thoughts going on in your head, and being the engine that you are, you were trying to balance that whilst trying to run an efficient train. However, I can see both sides of the argument. Maybe Shirley shouldn't have been so aggressive and rude like she was, but yet again, you did deserve it. After Rafferty told her about what you said to me earlier, I guess you probably needed a good telling off. But I also guess that any engine with your sort of attitude can make mistakes like that. And yes, everyone makes mistakes. Even you, mate. You shouldn't have been so dependent on your timekeeping skills because you got too distracted. You then made a mistake when you didn't even realise it. Well, I'm only speculating. I don't necessarily know if I'm right or wrong, but just remember, Sir Kay, tomorrow is a new day. And because it's a new day, you can learn from your past experiences to try and make sure you don't make that same mistake again. And once you make one mistake, you'll never make that mistake again. I hope I was helpful.
Johnny,
Yep, that's my name.
thank you. That was rather reassuring. But I do say tomorrow is a new day working under the banner of British Railways. So it is best if we get some sleep. That would be spectacular. There's a good chat. Sleep well, 222 Squadron.
Sleep well, Sir Kay.
As their crews took them down for the night, the two engines started to fall asleep under the nice moonlit sky. Rafferty watched them from afar, with a broad smile on his face, knowing that these two engines would be friends until the end. But how long is it until the end, Rafferty thought to himself, as something was at the back of the tank engine's mind. But in the meantime, he could be content, as the King Arthur and the Battle of Britain will work hard, because at the end of the day, they are all at the head front of the tracks.